What's up, everybody? This is episode 7, Books and Brewskies. I'm here with Shane, as usual. We're also here with a guest, Derrick Middleton.
Yo, what up?
Shane,
Go ahead.
what's up? How's it going?
Good, man. Good.
Derrick, how's it going?
Man, not too bad.
Good.
Enjoying the day.
So, per usual, we got a beer of the week. We're drinking Nitro Irish Stout from Breckenridge Brewery. Shane and Derrick aren't too big of fans. I like it a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I like it. It's just it's coffee. If you like coffee, I mean that's
I hate coffee.
where we're standing at.
I mean, I've also had Stella
And some gin before
and the
this.
gin,
Derrick,
but
Derrick's drinking a lot today. It's fine.
it's okay.
It's fine. It took us a while to get going.
You're allowed to drink on this show if you're over 21. So
Yeah.
Derrick,
Can you?
show us your
Can you? Hold on.
I didn't get ID.
Exactly. ID. Not a lot of people believe this, but I'm 30 years old, and it's pretty funny because everyone's like, "What? You're 22, 21? Not even close. I'm like 30.
Well,
Like, I can't believe I'm
you were 30,
30.
Derrick.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's 30. Damn. Okay.
Old man.
Okay.
Nice.
31 actually next month.
Damn. Okay.
So
Derrick's old. Derrick
So-
might actually be the oldest person we've had
That's
on the
not
show.
old. 30s ain't old.
No, I'm just saying.
But he's
Derrick's
got
might be the
a lot
oldest
of
person we've had on the
wisdom.
show.
He's got a lot of wisdom.
I still look young though.
You do look young. You look like you're 21.
Thank you.
You probably got ID to
That's
look
good.
young.
I actually do every time I get ID.
That's good.
The dude at liquor store today literally goes, "You're 21, right?" I said, "Yeah." Like I was like, "What?"
And it's funny because I get ID and I'm like, dude, I'm older than you. What are you talking about?
You're like, are you
Can I see your ID?
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Well, go ahead and
Well,
introduce
yeah,
us.
I'll introduce the beer now since we got that out of the way. Anyhow, this brew from Breckenridge Brewery. Obviously, if a lot of you guys don't know, Breckenridge Brewery is one of the more popular breweries here in Colorado. I don't know how it is outside of Colorado. Anyhow, their Nitro Irish Stout is brewed with Irish malts, roasted barley, creates distinguished flavors and notable dry character. The nitrogen charge produces soft texture and a pillowy head that smooths every sip. It's definitely smooth to drink for sure. I mean, my review on it's very smooth. I don't feel a lot of flavor to it, but it's really good. I've never really been into dark beers. The first dark beer I really had was a Guinness. Then the second dark beer I had was our, I think, third show. We did the coconut stout from WeldWorks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this one's good. I like it. A little bit further background. I guess this was a seasonal beer a year or so ago. I think 2017. So I guess that was 3 years ago now. Time flies. But yeah. So
It's from Breckenridge Brewery, so.
Breckenridge
You guys-
Brewery. There's one in Breckenridge, Colorado. There's also one off Santa Fe, out Hounds Ranch. That one's kind of cool. They have like a couple different restaurants and a little outdoor bar thing going on. So check them out. Pretty sweet place. I like it a lot. Derrick's drinking Breckenridge Distillery gin. We're actually drinking that today. They're not associated with each other, but
He's got a Corona on the side.
coronavirus. All right. So anyhow,
Yeah, we'll
moving
jump
on.
into that later.
We'll go ahead. Derrick, go ahead and
Do we want
introduce
to
yourself.
do our You're Killing Me Smalls?
Yeah, go ahead and do your killing.
Do you have, no, you can go ahead. You don't sound too excited. I'm just saying. Do you want
No,
to
I'm
kick
excited.
yourself? Okay, so my You're Killing Me Smalls of the week. Everybody that's listening, stop blowing the damn coronavirus out of proportion. This shit is not going to do anything. I saw a tweet today from one of my friends from college. He said, "You're more likely to die from eating a Tide Pod than you are to die from the coronavirus." That is probably the truth. You all are dumb. I like you all. You listen to us, but stop going out and trying to buy the masks. They're not going to do shit for you. I'm not a licensed doctor or anything. I just read what I see on the internet. But chill out. You're fine.
You see,
Wash your hands.
What's going to happen is next week, everybody in Colorado is going to have coronavirus.
That's true.
Everyone's gonna be like, ah, shit. But
again, you're not going to die from it. It's like the cold symptoms. Like, research the shit, people. Stop fucking...
it's just another flu.
Stop
It's
letting
another
yeah,
flu
the
story.
media. You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, seriously.
Blow
But
that shit
that's
out of
the
proportion.
issue is like something
Ebola.
happens and then we blow it up on media and it's just another like the
Ebola,
people who are getting sick are
swine
literally
flu,
people who don't take care
West
of
Nile
themselves.
virus,
Yeah.
Y2K,
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah. 2012.
There's a fucking movie about 2012. I mean, come on.
There'll be something new in about 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
So,
will be.
you notice it's kind of around every election.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
Wow.
I just came up with that in my head, so I don't know.
I like that.
I didn't see anything about that.
I like that.
Cool.
You got one, Derek? You got to kill me smells of the week.
It's not the week. It's last month with the
last
snow.
month. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys know. Every other day it's snow,
Yeah.
and then the weather teases you. Sun comes out.
That's Colorado right there.
Colorado likes to tease everybody.
I've been out here for like 7 years, and I'm still trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So
Nah, I hear you.
Well,
That's-
72 degrees.
Colorado, you're killing me, Smalls.
one day I'm driving straight. Next day I'm doing 360. So you know.
Yeah.
Derek likes to do donuts in the snow.
Go ahead, Derek. Introduce us.
Who are
give
you?
the crowd. Who are you? Where'd you come from?
Who, what, where, when, and why. He has his own table for his drinks today. Let's just tell you how many freaking drinks he has. And his phone. Corona, Breckenridge Gin, Nitro, Breckenridge Brewery, and a Stella.
Yeah, go ahead. Introduce yourself. Tell us the backstory about you, and
I'm drinking a
go from there.
Just kind of tell you how I actually just got out here to Colorado. So Derrick Middleton.
D-Mid.
Originally D-Mid 1
At
At-
D-Mid 1.
Instagram. Please follow. I need at least about 5 followers. No, but originally grew up from Chicago, so I really shouldn't be complaining about weather. Because you guys been out to Chicago, it's stupid cold. But anyways, I'm just gonna jump into high school. Listen, I've had 3 older brothers that I look up to. They're my role models. Going into high school, I kind of figured like, I'm the youngest of 4, and I was just thinking like, look, man, I got it made. All the teachers are gonna know me. I'm gonna be starting every sport. So that's kind of like the mindset I had going into high school. And then, and I excelled in all the sports. Played varsity as a sophomore. Made all conference, all state, all that stuff. But, the biggest thing was not taking care of the school side of things, the education. And, looking back at it, it's kind of crazy. You always have that, I wish I did this moment. But, it is what it is, and can't go back from that now. But I think my failures that I had in high school kind of made me the man I am today. And, it was definitely a learning lesson. So anyways, I'm going through high school, and, I'm this top sport guy, basketball, football, and I didn't have the grades. So when it's time to go to college, I couldn't really get into any D1s or D2s because I definitely had offers, but once they look at your grades, they're like,
The other side of things. Yeah.
So I didn't really take that part serious. So ended up going to junior college. Went to a junior college out in Iowa Falls, Ellsworth. It's not really a place you guys want to be.
Iowa Falls. Yeah.
Iowa Falls. It's actually probably like 35 minutes away from Ames, Iowa, where Iowa State is. So, but anyways, I played football there. Then I come to realize like, and I'm just talking to myself like, I gotta figure out what I want to do in my life. Like, I'm not gonna keep making it through because of my last name in high school, and now I'm like out in the real world. So
You have another name to live up to.
yeah,
basically. Like,
so
you have your own
like
name to live up to.
nobody even knows who I am.
Yeah.
Like nobody even cares. Like, oh, you're Middleton. Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah.
So I had to like almost like look yourself in the mirror type of situation, and I was like, man, look, you need to get this shit figured out. Can I say
You
that?
can cuss as much as you'd like. I don't hold
I
back
just-
ever.
I was just like, yeah, you need to get this shit figured out. So, so pretty much basically that's what I did. I'm in Iowa. Like, what can you possibly do in Iowa except for study and and play sports. So that's what I did. So I kind of shift my concentration to, look, let me get my grades right. Let me get my shit figured out so I can succeed in life. And we could possibly talk about that later. What success is, because success is like different for everybody.
Yeah.
But
you played football in college. Right?
Played football. I was a 2-sport athlete. Had a chance to either play basketball or football. I chose football just because I just thought it was a better opportunity to play maybe professionally. And this is my mind thinking in high school. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stick with football.
Yeah.
So I played football and went to junior college and, got my act together at Ellsworth, and was only there for a year. Had a opportunity to go play at an NAIA school in Nebraska. So for people who don't know what NAIA is, it's, you can make an argument whether it's D3 better than D3, better than, better or not.
I think NAIA,
because you get an athletic scholarship.
Yeah, I think NAIA is better than probably D3, D2. I mean, there's guys that go down to NAIA that can probably compete at the D1 FCS level, like that lower level tier D1 level. I mean,
and I played against teams like Sioux Falls when they were on their like 60 game winning streak, and Morningside and Wisconsin Whitewater. But anyways, besides that, I just was like, look, got to get my biggest thing was got to get your act together, especially if you want to succeed in life. And so I just played all through my 3 years in college, and I get this opportunity to play arena football, arena/indoor, whatever you want to call it.
AFL,
AFL. Yeah. So I had an opportunity to play with Sioux Falls Bandits, Sioux City Bandits, and just the traveling back and forth. I was like, I don't think I can do that. So I played with Council City Bluffs Express. Played with them for a season. Went to go try out for the Iowa Barnstorms. Made it through several cuts. Made it through the first week, and business. I come from Midland, and this is professional. So when you get teams that play, or kids that play from Missouri or Minnesota, they're going to be like, should we put this guy that played for Midland or Minnesota? And that was the biggest thing for me. Like, I could play with the guys, but I think a lot of it was politics, and I just you almost lose the love for the game when it turns into that. So
yeah, that's a tough thing. It's like sports became so much.
It's a job.
Politics. Yeah, it's a job, and it starts in high school too. I mean, we see it with like high school athletes. Derrick works with us at Elite Speed, and we see it.
But that's the crazy. Like,
but you see that with athletes, it starts as soon as middle school. I already see the politics start with middle school. Like, there's so much.
You see all these high school games on ESPN, and it's just like, jeez.
Well, you look at like the Netflix documentary, the QB1. They follow, like, I forget their names. The one dude that's down in Miami now, he's at Ohio State.
Tate Martell.
Yeah, Martell. Like you look at that, and it's like all politics there.
Yeah.
He's a freaking superstar on TV. He goes from what school did he go to?
He was at Bishop Gorman to Ohio State.
Yeah, to Miami. And like, you look at Bishop Gorman High School, it looks good. It's bigger than some of the like smaller universities, like D1 schools. Like, I
got pictures of it.
It's crazy. I mean, like, you look at like Bishop Gorman, it's bigger than Northern Colorado. Like, and that's and some of the, and like, like we played in the Big Sky, like, it's bigger than some of those schools.
Yeah.
So
it's insane. But so anyways, I ended up graduating from Midland in 3 years with 1 year of junior college. I could have played another year, but my mindset, I'm like, man, I could be done with college and not play. So I was just like, I wanna finish. So I ended up graduating in 3 years, and
I'm sorry, I had to sneak that in.
And so at the time I was I was dating this girl, and you always get those, man, this is it, this is the one.
Yep.
And so that's kind of like how I end up moving to Colorado. So I'm out here in Colorado and looking for different jobs, and I somehow find a car dealership job and kind of work in that industry. And then from the car industry into performance, it's definitely a different job.
Different realm, yeah.
But I enjoy what I do now. I also coach. So that's kind of like a little bit of my backstory, and just a lot of obstacles, to definitely get where I'm at today. So I think the biggest thing was just overcoming that situation, that look in the mirror. I think that was like the turning point, like, yo, get your shit figured out, or you're gonna have some problems later in life. So
I think that's one connection like all of us share, like playing football at a high level. You being in arena and playing a high level college, and like us playing like college and not obviously taking it further. I think we all have had that moment of like, okay, football life, what the hell do we do? Do we got to look in the mirror? Do we got to like do that, do this? I mean, I think it happens over and over again. Like it's not with sports, with football. I think it happens like job wise, life wise, whatever. So I mean,
I think at one point in your life, there's always a time that you kind of hit rock bottom, and you have to take a look at yourself, and you say, "Who am I? Who do I want to become? What am I, and who am I now?" And I think that's like huge. Is a lot of people look at, at some point in your life, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, "This isn't who I want to be." And I gotta start changing stuff.
Yeah.
And I think like what Derek was saying is you have to make that choice. You have to make that choice of, am I gonna sit here and go down the path that I keep going down, or am I gonna make a choice to become a better person of myself? And I think you go into, seeing different jobs and like seeing like, hey, I could have a better situation with football at a higher level, but my grades were bad. You being able to take that in perspective and say, okay, like I gotta do something else for myself is huge, and that's how it kind of changes you. And looking back at it, what would you say took you to that? What was the like falling cause of, hey, I gotta look at myself in the mirror? I think that's the biggest thing, and you can get deep into it or not, but what's that big?
I would think just obviously just being from a big city, Chicago.
Well, Chicago life, that's a whole different
it's
deal.
Culture shock when you move from Chicago to Iowa.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
explain what that culture shock is. 'Cause I know a lot of people probably haven't been to Iowa. A lot of people haven't been to Chicago. You see it on, the I don't know what word I'm looking for. Depictions of it on TV, and there's stupid shows they come up with that probably don't really depict it that well.
It's just Chicago's just always something going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of people. There's everything just goes at a rapid pace. So.
And you lived in this city in Chicago,
I live
or
outskirts. But if I said I lived in Chicago Heights, that's pretty much Chicago.
Yeah.
But as far as the culture shock, like I said, it's rapid. Everything's going fast. It just doesn't stop. Whereas, you're in Iowa Falls, Iowa, and there's only a Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah.
A Walmart and a
McDonald's.
Chinese food. Wasn't no McDonald's, Chinese food.
Yeah.
Was that in the Walmart, or was that like separate?
No, it was like in a plaza mall. So it was Walmart, and then attached to it was the Chinese food.
Damn.
Yeah. And how do you adapt to that, I guess?
You went from large town to small town.
Exactly.
How would you say you adapt to that, like, culture shock, and what's the biggest thing you can tell people that, hey, if I grew up in one background and you got to see that fast-paced life, and then you grow up in another background, how does that like depict on who you become and what you have to use skill wise and kind of like your own living wise of how to change your life in a different position? You know what I'm saying?
I definitely got an understanding of the different type of people in the world. You know, at least from being with me, you know, growing up, and there's like hanging out with like tons of black people, you know, and then all of a sudden you get into this Iowa where it's farmers and
Yeah.
it, you know, just
It's a different life.
It's a different life, and you almost kind of like appreciate what those farmers do.
Is Iowa more of a corn state, or they do like other stuff? For some reason, I think Iowa and I think corn. Like
I know,
cornfields
I think
everywhere.
so too, but it's like Nebraska's technically, and I can get into that too, because from Iowa, you know, where do I go? I go to Nebraska.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Large city,
I must
small
like
town.
something about,
Yeah.
you know,
Corn.
But what did you kind of learn? I mean, you saying like taking the learning aspects of different people. I mean, you get to take in these cultures and kind of build yourself off that.
Yeah.
What would you say you took a lot from that different life and your life, and how did you mold it into your own life?
It's not an interview. You're good.
no, right?
No, I had a lot of people. So like in Montana, same idea, right? I grew up from a smaller town, but I had my friends who grew up in big cities, and they come into small town Montana, and their culture shock's different. And the way that they took it, I mean, playing football, we were in like a fishbowl, and a lot of like the whole public knew who you were. And sometimes in big cities, you don't know who people are, right? And when you're in a small town, you get all this view from the outside world of like that whole town. So you definitely have to be, you're definitely more conscious of what you're doing, but also in the state of mind of like, on a team, you have to understand each other's cultures, and you have to respect each other, and you figure out like how you build that team camaraderie, basically. No, I tried to say it. I did. So, but how do you build that camaraderie? But how do you build that from these different cultures? And I think that's just in human life. Also, looking at it is, we're such a human race that we're so stubborn in our own ways that it's hard to be open-minded to other people. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know if there's a way to explain. You just have to live it. It's really difficult because I don't know how I did it. You know, when I choose to go to Iowa and then end up going to Nebraska, you know, I was like, what's gonna best fit me? The family culture.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of that in Iowa and Nebraska. Just people being there for each other as the coaches, the teachers, just really caring about you and just making sure that you succeed, and just not making sure that like, hey, I'm only doing this so I can look good. Like, you know, people, and I saw a lot of that in Iowa and Nebraska. So I think that was like almost the biggest thing. Like I said,
More
it's
personable.
Yeah, and it's gonna be different for everybody, but like I said, it's hard to explain. You just almost had to live it. You gotta have a open mindset when you do it. You can't just come in with an attitude of, you know, it's gonna be my way, or like, you know, it's almost like you're going into their town.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's a whole different world.
it really is. But you also respect, you know.
You learn a different culture.
Exactly. So, and I think that's what's kind of helped me just in life, because you know you meet a lot of different people, especially once you're done playing sports, and you know what are you gonna do to succeed? And you know, I think being able to adapt to different people, you know, I think that's one of the biggest things. So
Yeah.
No, and do you think? Sorry, Shane. Do you think that helps you, in a sense, through, you know, being at the car dealership to then working at Elite? Like, do you think, you know, your transition from Chicago to Iowa to Nebraska to here, you know, learning all those different cultures and learning to be around different people, do you think that's helped you build connections with people, you know, either selling a car or trying to sell a
I
session
can
at Elite?
definitely relate to some people, whether if they're financially stable or if they're struggling, and I feel like I can relate to a lot more if I was just came from Chicago and went straight to Colorado, and I just had this Chicago mindset, and that's kind of like a little difficult to explain because Chicago people are different.
Yeah.
But I think that's just like helped me so much open to other people and understand where other people come from, and I definitely take joy of just like when I do see an Iowa license plate and I'm like, oh, where are you from? And they say such and such, and I'm like, oh, I went to school out in Iowa, and then you can just spark up a conversation just like that because they know where Iowa Falls is, and they understand the people there. So
I think Iowa football.
yeah,
Yellow and
definitely.
black. Yellow and black, that's all I can think of.
Iowa City is something else.
It's different. Well, that's kind of so like similar to what you're talking about. What we're reading in the book with Tim Tebow and everything. He talks about when you're in a situation kind of like that. So he quotes this: "What God knows about us is more important, and remember who we are. We need to remember that God of the universe created us, and we need to remember who we are specifically from home." And I guess when you look at that is when you're in a different situation, so you come from Chicago and then you go to Iowa, what was like the biggest thing that you always went back to understand like who you were as a person? And when you went through tough times, what did you fall back on? I guess, and those were the biggest things that I took from that quote is what's your foundation and your faith of it?
The biggest thing I fall on, and I didn't mention this earlier, but my faith with God is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
My dad is Catholic, mom is Baptist. Grew up going through a Catholic high school or elementary school, high school. So that's one of the biggest things I can lean on, and just having that relationship with God. And I don't want to get like super religious or anything like that, but
you get into whatever works.
But I think that's like almost like the biggest thing that just like helped me through life, and kind of just like always asking for signs, and just like that's, like I said, that's just like one of the biggest things for me for making that transition from Chicago to Iowa. And I definitely asked, is this for me? Just being out here. And I, one of the biggest signs is like, yes, this is for you. You need to open up. Like, it's not just all about sports. Like, I'm preparing you for something bigger than sports. And I think that's the reason why I ended up in Iowa and ended up in Nebraska, because I need to open up more to different cultures and understand what other people's lifestyles are, so it would prepare me for now or today or next week or so and so.
And you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, and when you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, you grow off of that. And I think that's big. And I think taking that perspective and saying, having that Catholic like foundation, like you said, did you go to church out there, or were you more just like more personal with God, or what did you kind of take that? Because I like to hear the different situations on like people have a faith, and I think some people believe in God, other people believe in God, but they do it in different ways, where like they go to church on Sundays and they say, this is how I praise God. I have a relationship with God where I feel like it's more personable, and I don't have to go to church to praise Him. So I just like hearing the other aspects of, if you were in Iowa, how did you kind of take that faith? Was it more of a personal, or did you go to church? Did you build a church group and stuff like that?
So growing up throughout like elementary and high school, we had church every Wednesday.
Okay.
Sounds like Catholic school.
Yeah, Catholic school, exactly.
Yeah.
On Sundays, I went to a Baptist church with my mom. Throughout college, didn't go to church, but we met someone and we ended up starting a Bible study group. That was in junior college. That same person I met at junior college ended up moving out to Fremont, Nebraska, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's funny. That's crazy.
And so we kind of connect, and it's like, hey, let's get this Bible study going again. So I would say like the first part of my college career started that Bible study again.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, as far as like right now, I feel like I'm on a personal level with, I'm doing just like a lot of reading. Like I just finished a book by Joel Osteen, The Power of Favor.
Joel's good.
And then I'm reading. Joel's great. I'm reading right now.
This podcast are intense.
Think Better, Live Better.
Yeah.
I read it a couple years ago. I'm rereading it again to kind of get a better understanding of that. So that's kind of like how I approach my life now. If you want to live better, you just got to think better.
Yeah.
Got to have that positive life. So
would you take that Bible study as your first kind of step into looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, hey, this is the first thing I need to start doing, is building a better relationship with my faith, and then taking that next step? Because I think as sometimes when you look at yourself in the mirror, you realize like sometimes your foundation gets broken and you're like, what is the first step for me? And I would say, did that Bible study help with you to take that next step in life, or to take that yourself higher?
I think, I wouldn't say I think, but I've always had a good relationship. I don't think I've ever lost that.
Yeah.
With the Bible study, I just felt like I just kind of needed to open up more and have other people understand me and the lifestyle I grew up in. And the Bible study wasn't like, okay, let's read this, okay, and then read that.
Yeah.
It was more of a, okay, this is what this says. Let's make a connection in life.
Yeah, make it to yourself.
Right. So I think it definitely kind of, once again, had me open up to other people, and had just me understanding what people are coming from. So, and if you know me, like I'm not an open book. Like I'm pretty closed, and so.
That's good. Did you have that at UNC in Wyoming? You guys? Because we built like Bible study for athletes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I went to a few.
At UNC we had it. I never actually partook in You can't say words. Partake in it.
Partake.
I'm trying to think of past tense. I never found myself there. They did a lot of retreats and stuff. I mean, there was a couple guys on the team that kind of led that. I wouldn't say that I don't have faith at all, because I definitely do. Like you, it's more personable. I never have been, never really, don't know if I ever will be more outgoing about it. I grew up going to Catholic preschool, going to Catholic school until 5th grade. My grandma, on my mom's side, was very, very Catholic, to the point where it was like, let's watch church on TV every day.
Yeah.
I was an altar boy. So I think for me, that kind of burned, that's such a bad way to say it, but it kind of burned me out of religion and that whole world, especially since it was the Catholic side of it. And anybody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the Catholic religion and the Catholic Church is very culty, and I could not stand it, because it's like stand, sit, communion, stand, sit, pray.
Almost how I felt when I say my mom's Baptist. We went to a Baptist church, and it's just a whole different vibe from just a Catholic church, and I was just like, oh, I can't do
Well, what's crazy. So that's crazy that you guys say that, because we've had conversations as a family about that. And one of the things, I grew up Christian, but I went to Regis, and that was a Catholic school, and kind of learning that Catholic side and what they go about things. Do you guys feel like sometimes, because of course, growing up in a family, your parents have a lot of rule over what you do, and you feel like sometimes religion's a tough aspect to put on people, and it's a hard thing to say. As a young kid, you get put on by your parents. But for me, I think religion and faith was built, I had to personally build it, and I couldn't be put in a situation that my parents thought were best. So I see that a lot with kids that they're like put under this, like, hey, I'm Catholic, but then they go through this for a little bit of their life and they realize maybe that's not for me. You know what I'm saying? Like they figure out that I have different aspects that I believe, or I have different things. And I think just looking back at that, I see a lot of people go through that situation of like, what is my true faith? I idolize myself as a Catholic, but that doesn't mean that I follow everything that they say the Catholic religion is. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I was just asking, like, the personal relationship with God is, I think a lot of people at the end of the day really need that own personal relationship with God, or you don't figure out what your true, faith is.
I feel like there's a lot of people I know that just don't have any belief in anything. I think there's some unexplainable shit that happens that, like, you're literally like, okay, well, there definitely has to be some, like, either the universe is doing something, either God's doing something, whatever it is, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be, like, whatever. You can't, like, and please, listeners, don't kill me if I say this wrong. Like, there's something, like, out there, like, whether it's God, whether it's the universe, whether it's the damn moon, like, there's an over, like, bearing, like, conscience on what goes on, I feel like. And so, like, I feel, obviously, like you're saying, a lot of people are kind of forced into situations where, like, it's forced upon them. I mean, for myself, like, the whole going to Catholic school, like, I never knew anything else. So I thought that was just kind of how it was. My friends go to public school, so it's like, whatever, like, no big deal. And I didn't have a problem at Catholic school. It wasn't, like, necessarily the most fun thing. It was over in freaking sketchy ass Aurora. I mean, we didn't have school for 2 days because the windows got shot out of the school. But, and for you guys that don't know what Aurora is, it's not that sketchy. There's like 4 or 5 different areas of Aurora, and some of them are really nice, some of them aren't so nice. But yeah, no, I don't think, I think you have to, like, I say like a lot. I think you have to build your own, like, understanding and belief in whatever it may be. I think
I totally agree, because you know what, even though I did go to Catholic school, my parents never, like, forced, like, hey, tonight we're gonna do this. It's just like, you know what, it would ease in, and if this is something that you want to learn, and you know what, you can take that next step. But if not, then as far as my parents are, like, we're still gonna love you, like, regardless.
I think going to the school is the only, and all 3 of us will know, like, I think the only thing that's really forced upon you is religion class. Like going to, like, theology, theology, and, like, the classes you have to go through, actually, which is fine. But then you're sitting there reading these books, and it's just like,
well, I think it's
telling you what it is.
I mean, I don't know. I think you got to take it in a mindset of, like Derrick was saying, like, as a parent, we're not even parents yet. We don't have kids. But when you have kids, how open are you? How open are you to letting them figure out what their faith is and still loving them, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can put your perspective on it and say, hey, this is what I believe in. This is why. This is what I want you to try out. But at the end of the day, if you're not a part of that, that's your choice, And I think that goes for the world in general. Like, everyone grows up in so many different situations. There's so many different cultures out there, so many different religions, that us as a world, we try to force stuff on each other. And that's why we have wars. That's why we have issues that are going on, because we don't let people make their own freedom to make their own decisions, basically. And that's a big issue.
Happen, ISIS kills everybody. So just saying, there has to be some checks and balances.
Well, there's still
right.
I think as a human race, there's still a right and a wrong in a way. And I think people know that in their heart, but going to, like, what we truly believe in, everyone has a different perspective. And that's fine. And that's a part of us growing up in different realms and different cultures. And that's just kind of how life is, So I think people need to understand that more as a society, more as a world, that the only way we're going to have peace is if we give enough freedom. I'm just saying, if we give enough freedom with all the shit that's going on, though. But with all the shit that's going on, if you understand that, like, America's got to stop making China be like this or China's
Yeah,
all
I
these
disagree.
cultures got to stop trying to bleed into these other cultures.
We
Because
have
we
our
grew up
hands in so
using
many
it.
buckets as a country
Yes,
and as a government.
yes.
I mean, there is certain
As
situations
everyone.
where like, okay, well, we do need to have a little bit of scare tactics and can go drop a, what was that bomb, that missile that shot off and just blew up a mountainside
I don't
not too
know.
long ago. I don't know, but it was like one of the biggest missiles ever launched. Like, there's some scare tactics, like scare the shit out of ISIS, that's fine. But
Yeah.
don't be going and dropping 3-ton
Atom bombs.
nuclear bombs on
Nuclear
people.
bombs.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe back in I don't know what year it was. This is really bad.
Back in
That's okay then,
Yeah.
because like they came over and like attacked the shit out of us. And I'm not trying to get all political and like
Well,
U.S. history.
technology's gotten a lot better now, and a lot of people have these nuclear weapons. If we start a nuclear war of anything, like, it's gonna destroy the whole world. Like, that can't happen.
Coronavirus is not gonna be a thing. It'll be killed by nuclear.
As Derrick pulls out the coronavirus.
No, dude,
That's-
random.
He's like, I'll show you coronavirus.
It's
That
vaccinations.
whole situation's just. I mean, I know you speak on it earlier, but it's just insane.
The coronavirus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just.
You know what's really sad? People think you get it. Actually, this is really it. You're killing me, Saul. People think you can get it from drinking a Corona beer.
Dude, they did.
Are you fucking high?
They did a
You saw the
poll.
meme, right?
They did a poll. No, they actually did a poll, and it was like 38% of Americans believe that they could get coronavirus from drinking a Corona.
You guys are
That just
dumb.
goes back to the education system. No, that's bad. That's if 38%.
Did they say where those 38% were from?
I don't know.
I'm just curious. Like, that's
Iowa.
bad.
I'm just
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this beer.
They're down there probably drinking the Corona because there's 38% more available.
Yeah, that's 38% more. That's, I don't know, it's bad. But I mean, it's crazy to see how
It's
much
just-
like media inflicts.
The media
us
influences
as a
so
society.
much shit.
Dude, we could literally,
It's like Antonio
media
Brown.
could post something and they could scare the whole world.
It's like, oh,
If
if
they
you,
just post-
if you put your left shoe on first, you're gonna die, and then everybody believes it. I guarantee you. Like literally, if the
No,
media's
I'm
like,
not kidding.
it's like,
There's
oh,
a
we
lot
saw
of-
3 studies where 3 people put their left shoe on and they walked outside and died. Somebody listening to this is gonna be like, oh fuck, I need to go Google this shit.
left shoe.
Left
Has to
shoe.
go
death-
on second.
Left shoe death disease.
Just in case, I'm gonna put my right shoe on though.
You gotta tie the left shoe first though.
But it's crazy how fast with social media now that we have like one thing can go out that fast. Remember the Super Bowl commercial with Shakira and she did her little tongue like dude, literally like 1 minute after blew up on social media. That thing was already out there and going to millions of people. And that's how crazy it is that one thing can just go super viral.
Shakira's hot.
One thing about social media is, I think the biggest thing for me is I try not to follow celebrities. I don't.
Yeah.
I just.
I follow
Why do you think, or why?
Shane Moody's a celebrity. I follow him.
Because everybody has something to say, you know. Everybody's like, he's not doing that right, or he's doing this, and like, but we forget that sometimes we make that same mistakes, like, and we don't even know it. We just don't have anybody calling us out on it. We don't have 3.5 million followers, and like,
Yeah, we don't know what it's like to be in that.
You know what's really
hold
bad
on,
about those
This
people?
is what. No, this is something that like I'm marked, so it's funny that you bring that up because Tebow said when this was like when he was in the time that media was giving him a whole bunch of bullshit about everything.
Back
He
when
said
he
it-
was like trying to play baseball or before then.
No, like when he got done, when he got done with football and like what he was doing, like his
Oh,
next
yeah.
step and everything, and they were just giving him bull crap about everything, and he was
Oh
like.
crap.
He's like, it's important to note there are times when we need to listen and pay attention to the things others might say that we may not like, so getting that criticism, but also not necessarily from talking heads or random browsing through Instagram accounts, but those who know us best, like a spouse, a parent, coach, pastor. So just you saying that, like with a whole bunch of the media, like when you're a celebrity, is you can hear so many voices from random ass people that just say crap and want to like put in their own, like troll you, right? We know about trolling, but troll you and everything.
Shane, can you explain what trolling is for those that don't know at home?
Trolling is if you're a bum that's sitting on the couch and you're going through people's Instagram or social media and you're commenting on them to start some type of drama, to start some type of bullshit, and you're just worried about your own life that you need to figure out your own shit.
In
So
my
what I'm
mind,
saying,
I think troll. My
What's
first
your
thing that
troll?
comes to mind when I think troll is an ugly ass motherfucker that sits under a bridge and pops out and it's like, "Hey, bitch, you're ugly." That's basically what it is.
that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
that voice
It's
is
these
not-
ones hiding from the world and they want to start shit.
Yeah,
But
get on the
Basic-
table.
But like going back to that is that you sit and you see these celebrities like Derrick saying, like, I don't follow these celebrities because a lot of people cause these drama that doesn't need to be talked about. You know what I'm saying? And why, as a celebrity, I get that. And Tim Tebow even saying that it's hard to shut out these other voices that don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I've gone through. You don't know like the whole situation, and that shit's hard to talk about. And I think
Super
that's
hard.
when you need to figure out what is my, who do I go to when I need to, hear something? Is that my friends, family? And you can take that, and then at the end of the day, you might have to look at yourself in the mirror and hear it from that. But this criticism, I think too much of the world, especially with this younger generation, they're hearing so much from social media, and we've talked a little bit about this, but like girls, like our high school people that we teach and coach, girls and guys, they get so much of this Snapchat and Instagram, and it
Dude, it's a
screws
social
up
media world
it
because
screws up their self-esteem, and
it's
it really
all about
is.
how many likes they get and who comments on their shit and who's creeping their stories. Like, and even at our age, I still think that's like a
It's still part of
thing.
the
And
It's
that's
still
the
worried
biggest
about
thing
the
with
likes.
these high school kids. They see that stuff and they get their head just gets so
Yeah.
big, and it's like, you know what? I'm too good. I don't have to work that hard now.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut down
Whereas
Instagram.
where you go from kids that are, and you see a lot of this in like the NFL, NBA, like that's why you see some of those Florida kids or like down south
Yeah.
kids, like, cause they have to freaking work for it.
Yeah.
Like that's all they live. That's what they live, eat and breathe, and they don't really necessarily use social media. They just like, yo, if I want to be successful, like this is what I got to do. Like I got to keep working.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let anybody build my head up. Like I got to keep working, because if I want to get out of the struggle, then I know where I have to be to get out of that struggle.
It's really funny that you say that, because I started thinking through there, not to shit on Tate Martell at all, but this dude, like on the QB1 on Netflix, watching that show, this dude would like post a picture or like tweet something, and all they cared about was the likes or the retweets or whatever it was. And I don't remember what it was, but he got in trouble for it because he posted something about like talking shit about the other team, how they were saying some shit, and he posted something on Twitter, like 100,000 retweets in like, I don't know, in 10 minutes, and everybody's freaking out about it all around the country, because like Bishop Gorman plays like a national schedule. They don't play like local teams.
Yeah.
And so like you look at that and it's just like, what the fuck? Like,
And that's pretty funny.
it's after a game, like you should be warned of the game.
So I mentioned earlier that I coach football, so I'm gonna just tell you a quick story. We're on the bus, and I'm not gonna mention the team or the player's name, but we're on the bus. We're getting ready to go play this game. This team beat us last year. This player especially beat us last year, and we're on the bus, and one of our kids sees something on Instagram like of last year's highlights, like we're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
And it went from one player to another player, and we all saw that. The
Yeah.
coaches, staff saw that, and
Within minutes.
just like that. All because he decided to post something on Instagram saying that it's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
And our players took offense to that, and
Did you beat them?
pretty bad.
But social media can be taken in different ways. Like that's kind of I feel like that's more of the negative part of it, and you have to take that with like a grain of salt, right? You have to understand what matters in social media and what are you like trying to do with it. And the biggest thing is like social media can still be, it's big for businesses, and we've talked about that. It's big for businesses, it's big for other things. Yeah, but there's different things that you can take it that are super positive. The issue though is that like there almost has to start being a class on social media of like educating people.
Do not post this. Post this.
No.
That's okay. Do not post a picture of your butt. You're 17.
But no, like it's
No,
it's
but
funny, but
it's-
seriously,
It's like serious
Yeah.
that like people need to start being educated more on how do you take social media. Not on. I'm not saying on like posts. You can do whatever on. You have the freedom to do what you want.
Yeah.
And people are gonna judge. That's just kind of how life is. But the issue is
People
like
are assholes.
how to take this social media and how to not let it shape too much of your identity and shape like who you are. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are taking too much to heart on social media, and it destroys a lot of self-esteem. And that's what we're seeing a lot with this younger generation is we have to figure out how does social media take us to a higher level and build our self-esteem up instead of crushing these kids.
Well, it doesn't help.
And then
that-
these kids get crushed, and now we're the ones who get the backfire and the
we have to
parents
hear
because
from it.
we have to hear about it and we have to help them get through it.
It's
right?
almost like, as like a coach, like you're almost like you're multifaceted, right? You're a psychologist, you're a coach, you're a parent, you're a brother, you're
a PT,
a
you're
PT,
therapist,
you're a therapist,
you're
you're
everything.
coach, you're an Uber driver. Coach, I need to drive ride home. Like, I mean, coach, I need some food. Like, literally, like
A mentor.
as a coach, like you become everything for these kids, and so like, in a sense, like, God, I say like so much, it's really bad.
that's the second time you did that.
I
Right?
know.
Go ahead.
I just like I catch myself saying it. But no, like you
You have to
to
fill
like,
a lot of roles.
yeah, you
that
have
are
to fill a lot of
into-
roles, and you have to help a lot of kids kind of get through their shit. And it doesn't help that other kids can sit behind their phone screen or sit behind their I don't even know kids use computers anymore, but sit behind your computer screen and write a comment like, oh, your dress is ugly as shit, or oh, those sneakers are 5 years old. Like, who
Yeah.
gives a fuck? Like, get over it. Don't like. There's no reason
Like-
to sit behind there and
Like
just be a
Shane
fucking
said,
troll.
like you
Yeah.
take it such like to heart. Like
Yeah.
it's sad. Like the whole bullying thing, and like I mean we can go on and on and on about
it doesn't
this.
end.
Like
We can go on
just-
for an hours about this one.
it's pretty crazy. And then you get kids that just like post highlights, and you get people that comment like, "Oh, you're so good," and da 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 da.
There's
And
the
then
ego
as a
boost.
coach, at least in my position, you gotta like explain like, look, yes, your highlights are good, but you gotta also understand you're not competing against kids from Colorado.
Yeah.
You're competing against everybody.
Son, you're gonna be Rudy. You need to.
And I think that's one of the difficult things about coaching. Just trying to explain, like, look, especially being from like Colorado, or telling kids from Colorado, like, look, Colorado's not a.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back to football just because that's where I'm at. Colorado is not a football state.
Not at all. I don't even know what this is. Like, this state doesn't have a sport that like you can think like Colorado, and it's like
I mean lacrosse.
I think they do.
lacrosse.
pretty
is
good.
growing-
lacrosse is
lacrosse
growing.
is growing a lot.
So.
But yeah, no, I mean that's the issue.
But that's the biggest thing. Just like communicating with these kids and having them understand, like, sometimes in life, as you get older, although you have people building you up, you may not get that job, or you may not meet that girl, or you gotta have failures and
Yeah.
heartbreak sometimes to.
Well, it's finding the real out of like the fake cyber world. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like you have to pull the real out of that. Like we're here sitting out of high school, out of college, and you have to pull out like, yeah, it's all fun and games when you're in high school for a little bit. When you're in college, like you're at a completely different mindset. Once you get into what we call the real world and you're in that work life, you have to realize like, what did I take from high school and college? What were the aspects that I truly took into my life now, and what was real and what was fake? You know what I'm saying? And you can take a lot of like fake friends that were in high school, all the fake shit that you went through like, why did I get upset about this? Why was this on my heart? Because you were in a different mindset. But when you live in this real world now, you realize like
Shit's real.
yeah, shit's real. Like
Shit is real.
like why did I worry about this girl doing that or something like that? And I mean that's just kind of having a heart, I guess. But you got to just realize at the end of the day what is the real and what is gonna truly make me who I am.
I think you deal with that though, like even still out of like college, like out of like in the real world, like you definitely deal with that. Like,
Yeah, you do.
like you know, I still daily I'm like, why the fuck did I like worry about that or like this or that? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, and like I have a lot of great situations over the past like year or so where it's like, okay, why did I like put up with shit for that long or this situation? It's like you still deal with it, and you still learn from it, and then it's like, whatever. Like you kind of get to that point where it's like things don't affect you as much.
Yeah.
From being, kind of almost change topics a little bit, but from being a college athlete to now, what was like the biggest thing you took that helped you like right now to succeed in life? Because my biggest thing was just like time management.
Time management.
Just like in high school, you know, you go to class, you go to sports, you go home, do your homework. But obviously in college, like, you know, you have your classes at different times, you have your practice, but you really technically don't have to do your homework. Like, no one's checking. Like, if you want to go out, you can go out. Like, there's no one to stop you. So like I said, like for me, like understanding like my time management and being like super organized, like, okay, this got to come at this time and I got to do this. Like, what was the biggest thing for you guys?
Well, like you saying in the work with the time management is like freedom versus time management. Like what can you do with your freedom and what can you still manage with your time? And I think a lot of people get lost with that. Like you were saying, is like people think work is all their time management once they get out of college. You got to realize you have other hours to do other things. What are you filling those other hours with? Are you just going to be the one who just sits around and watches TV and do that? Or are you going to try to grow yourself? And I think that's huge of like when you're in the real world, when you're in the work world, let's just say, is you got to realize your other time management is super important. It's not just work. I get through the Monday through Friday and I go, oh, weekends are weekends. And now I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to sit around and party. No, like.
I feel like weekends are still for like productivity.
Yeah, it's more that once you change out of that like college setting and once you get into like the work world, you realize the weekends become more of the productive time for you.
During the week you're exhausted from work and you can only do so much.
Yeah. So I think I think answering that question for me is hard work is still hard work, is what I took from college and high school. What I mean by that is you can't fake hard work. You just can't get around it. You can't get around it. Like you still have to put in the hours and the time to be great at something.
Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's still true. And what I'm saying with that is like exactly what I just said with time management. You gotta still, if you're in a work setting, you have to still put in the hours and time of something you want to become great. You still have to put in the hard work to do that. And sometimes you forget that. Sometimes you can get into that like laziness of that life of, oh, I'll just go to work and stay comfortable in the same situation. But then you realize if I want to grow, I have to put the same effort and time that I put into football, the same effort and time I put into sports, being in the weight room, film study. That you have to just take it in a different aspect now.
So to kind of like balance your life, when is there me time? When is there Shane time? Like when do I just have time to relax? Because you gotta have a balance.
Yeah.
You can't just work.
Yeah.
You gotta like,
Shane
at least
time.
for me, you gotta have
Moody minutes.
Hot tub. No, but I think I put my time in every day. So I take like a 30-minute of my own time. No, but just of your own time. Like it's not about anymore of this day is my time. It's about I'm gonna put my time into my day of my 30 minutes that I want to do that's relaxing to me.
Yeah.
And then I can do whatever. But then I put in the work. Like I said, my time is still doing music. My time is still doing like lifting and working out. My time is still part of boxing and stuff like that. That stuff's my time. So I don't take it as like a stress. I take it as my time. You get what I'm saying? Even though I'm still putting work in, it's still my time. So I think people will take it in different ways. Now, today was actually one of the first days that I needed to take like a nap, and I haven't took like the
No,
last time I took a
yeah.
nap. No, but I'm just saying the last time I used to in college all the time, I'd go to class and take like a 30-minute nap before practice
That was the best.
because it was like a power nap,
Midday
right?
Those
naps.
midday naps before
So-
practice were the best.
Yeah, and it goes back to reading your body, and we kind of talked a little bit about that. Is reading what you're feeling, and
You
I
have to learn
felt
to listen
today.
to
I felt
yourself.
yeah, you have to listen to yourself, and today I kind of felt I've been working hard and everything like that, putting in a lot of learning. Like mentally, I was fatigued, and I realized I just need to take a 15 power nap to like just relax and
You
like
sleep for 15
realize.
minutes, your ass
Yeah.
probably slept for like 30 or
No, I
40.
did. It was 15 minutes, man. I set my alarm and went to vocal lessons. Like, but that's what it was. I'm just saying is you gotta read yourself.
How much is spilled on beer on my computer?
But you gotta read yourself, right? You
Yeah.
gotta read yourself, and when you know it's too much, and that's knowing yourself as a person is when enough is enough. You gotta understand that,
Yeah.
and then take time. So some days that like Sunday, that might just be a day that you just don't do crap all day,
It's usually
and-
Saturdays for me.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta take that because if you know that you're putting in work all the other days and you're consistent with that, you gotta take that time in, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think that's big. What I've taken is like hard work is still hard work. But what about you, Christian? What do you think you've taken mostly from college and high school and
I think-
sports? Because I think time management, hard work, those are
You know, that
Too
I think that kind
huge.
of comes with it, like the time management piece. I think
flexibility. also.
being willing to give your all into things is something that I've learned. I think there was periods of time during my college career where I was just like, like I'm gonna
Yeah.
half-ass this workout, or like I
Yeah.
don't really feel like practicing today, And I think looking back to my time playing football in college, it was the first year was probably like I'm a red shirt. I don't really care. Like it didn't really like resonate with me, the fact that my time on scout team as a redshirt freshman, not practicing, was the time when I needed to be
mental reps.
fuck, I'm going against dudes that are starting at D1 level. I should be taking those reps as full effort.
Right.
This is my chance to, as a freshman, get to go against what the best in our program is. And as UNC, it wasn't the best, but no, looking back on it, you have to be able to put full effort in everything you put your hands on. And that goes back to the hard work piece, that goes back to the time management piece. If you're feeling drained from something, step away from it for a little bit, go put your effort in on something else, whether it's taking a nap, that's playing, one game of Call of Duty or one game of Madden or 2K or whatever the hell you guys play these days.
Whatever that best fits you.
Yeah, go do something else, because if you feel drained, and this was me yesterday, I have been working my ass off on a few things, and got to the point where it was like, I just sat there and I'm like, okay, kind of drained right now.
Yeah.
And I, kind of went into mental anxiety mode, holy shit, didn't know what to do, fucking started my own mental state started kind of breaking down. I had to get myself out of that, and it's kind of funny, I don't know why this popped in my head just now, Forrest Gump, okay? This dude, when he was running for 4 years straight, as if you haven't seen Forrest Gump, he likes to run. But at the end of those 4 years, it's kind of tired, want to go home. Eventually, you kind of burn yourself out of stuff. You got to take a break once in a while, right?
Right.
And that really is whatever you got to do, put your full effort into it, and at a point, take a little bit of break. Let your creative juices flow with whatever you're working on, whether it be drawing, music, designing shit, sports. Take some time. Let yourself breathe, because when you come back to it, your brain's gonna be fresh. You're gonna be able to have more ideas, more whatever it is, and that's kind of what I took from it. Because obviously, complete different, realms of what I'm doing now. Obviously, I'm not playing football, but
society, what I feel like you saying that is that recovery, I think society takes way too on the back burner.
recovery is in mental, I feel
mental
mental,
and physical recovery.
mental
honestly,
recovery and physical recovery.
mental-
It's just
we
go,
put
go,
that-
go, go, go,
We
go.
put that on the back burner. We live in that fast-paced life now, and it's go, go, go. Social media, talking to people, work.
You never disconnect.
And that's the biggest thing from Chicago to Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa was kind of my break.
Yeah.
I got you.
Chicago's go, 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 go,
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
go,
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Iowa.
Chill.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you still have to work hard. You still have
Yeah,
to.
and you realize that laid back.
It's like the movie Cars when Lightning McQueen goes to Radiator Springs. He learns to just chill.
But that's Jesus.
Dude, I
Terrible.
That's not a terrible analogy at all.
I like Cars.
Cars is a great movie. Lightning McQueen,
Good job.
greatest racer alive.
I just
No,
wasn't
but-
expecting that.
But that's
Welcome to the
exactly.
show, man.
I think for some reason,
Expect the unexpected.
Right?
for some reason, I think society. I think we take it as negative. Honestly, like in our head, we're like, if I'm not doing anything, we take it
Dude,
as like,
every day.
oh, I'm a loss. Like I'm a loser.
Defeat.
Basically, like yeah, I defeated.
I feel
And
defeated
that's
so
the
many times when I'm
issue.
just laying around.
And I think the best thing that I figured out to do is stop putting your recovery and stuff on the back burner. Put it into your day in day routine.
Day in
You-
and day out.
Yeah, day in and day out. You have to realize like what are the things that matter to me and put it as a priority. If you don't, then what happens is you get that burnout effect and you go for 4 months and you don't do anything, and then all of a sudden you crash, and then that next day you're like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a full recovery day. No, like you gotta put recovery in and day out. It has to be every day, whether
Just,
it's
like,
15
literally
minutes
sleep.
or an
Like,
hour.
If you gotta sleep in one day instead of waking up at 5.
Yeah, and
sleep
sleep's
your
fine.
ass in.
But I wouldn't even just say sleeping. I'd say like meditation. I would say more actually consciously
You
putting
said
in.
medication or meditation?
Stay away from the meds. But what I'm saying is meditation of you have to consciously put in an effort into actually changing your mindset.
Yeah.
Sometimes sleep is good, but what I'm saying is sometimes we get into this like robotic mode of, oh, I'm just gonna do this and that, and like you don't even know what you're doing. You're not even
You're just
consciously
going.
thinking. You're just going. And we've all had that where you're sending a text and you don't even know what you're saying, and you're just like, or whatever. Okay?
It's like
or
when you're driving.
when you're training
Like-
someone, sometimes you could be in that state and you're just like literally like, yeah, do this, do that, and you're not even thinking.
It's like driving, bro. Have
Yeah,
you ever driven a
driving.
car?
You see, and that's the biggest thing. Like those, in our profession, those kids look up to you.
Yeah.
They may not say it, but they see your drain.
Yeah,
They're like,
the
okay,
session
it's-
sucks when you're drained.
Yeah. Like, you know what? It's okay to, I'm gonna take this workout off. If he's drained, I'm drained too.
Yeah.
And that's one of the
You gotta
biggest.
bring the fucking noise. Bring the energy.
well, you gotta bring it. But what I'm saying, but also,
Bring
but also being educated, also educating like the kids and like athletes we train of saying, hey, it's okay to take a recovery. I just had that with one of my athletes actually the other day. He was like, dude, this past month, he was like, I feel like not depressed, but I feel tired.
Yeah.
Day in and day out. And he's like, I don't know what it is. And I know he's out of football season right now, but he's just like, I'm just in a mood. I've been in a mood for like a month. And I told him, I said, what are you doing? And it sounds like he's just draining himself, like mentally and physically. Like he's working out twice a day. He's going to school, doing stuff like that. So that's huge of understanding like, hey, recovery's okay. It's okay to do this. Don't be ashamed of it, but take a break. Take that
Take the
break.
time
You know?
you had to take to recover.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time with that sentence just now.
Exactly.
But-
So that's huge. So, I mean, taking that aspect, I mean, you got to take that into your everyday life and understand I need that recovery time when I need
Yeah.
that recovery time.
So changing up notes really quick because it's been on my mind. The four of us, the three of us. There's only 3 people here. Played football and followed football. Where's Tom Brady going? That's a dead ass question. Where's Tom Brady going?
He's staying.
New England.
No.
Because you wanna know why?
Why?
Social media is building all this stuff
So
up.
this is why I brought this up. This is why I brought this up.
They're making it a big deal. They're making people talk about it. It's just, I feel like, especially
Those are
with
his
New
line.
England,
Yeah.
like they like to mess with people. They want to get people thinking.
Yeah, Belichick, he doesn't.
Well, what do you
Like the crazy thing is
He
like
doesn't
they're
want
like,
anyone know his secrets.
yeah, they're
He's
like,
always on
oh,
that.
Tom Brady and Belichick's phone conversation. Like, wait a minute, you weren't in that phone conversation.
Tom
so
Brady
how
was
do you know?
FaceTiming Mike Vrabel of
Yeah,
the
what?
Tennessee Titans. Like what?
Well, you know what?
They're
They're also
friends. They play
good
with each other.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
it's
He's going to San Diego. Wait, no, there's no team there. He's going to LA.
But
Los Angeles Superchargers.
but you know what, if he
I want to bring the
For
media
him-
part into that because I was thinking about it earlier.
it's I don't know, media just
Media again blowing shit out of proportion.
yeah.
It's
That's
all
all
you
it
see on
is.
ESPN. I swear, I go to Lifetime in the morning, and we literally, I'm sitting at the TV. You got ESPN 1, ESPN 2, ESPN 8, The Ocho. You got
I'll tell you what, if it's not Tom Brady, it's LeBron James.
or AB.
Yeah.
Like you got three things. Like, and there was a week. I mean, R.I.P. Kobe, but like there was a week where it was just Kobe every day.
Yeah.
But then it's straight
Understandable.
back to like, oh, everybody forgot about Kobe. Like literally, like we're 3 weeks removed from that. Nobody's talking about it on.
we forgot about it, not his.
Well, I
Wife,
know.
yeah.
I'm talking
But
about
that's
media
what I'm
wise. That
saying,
they
that
move
is-
to the
that's what
next thing, and it's
media-
just Tom Brady
You know,
blown out of
There's
proportion.
always a next thing, right? Like
And-
one time, I mean, I take that into when my video went viral, doing a backflip off the wall. Boom, millions of people saw it. Next week,
You broke your
new
foot.
thing. I didn't break my foot next week, but a little later than that. But what I'm saying is like everyone out there looking for a big Shazam or looking for a big like moment. There's always a new thing. There's always
Have a
something
big
else.
moment in your own
There's
life.
always
Like literally, like
You gotta
I woke
take
up
it
today and I
more.
made breakfast. I never eat breakfast. That's a big fucking moment. I'm not talking about me myself because I didn't eat breakfast today. Aaron got me a calzone at like 11 o'clock. So like I didn't eat breakfast. But I'm saying like
that's brunch and almost.
it was like full.
consider that
Dude, it was
lunch.
full lunch.
It was
I had a monster at 9 o'clock this morning, and then a calzone at 11. So like that was my Saturday. But like
no, you just gotta understand like the big moment on social media compared to a big moment in your life is completely different. How many times you have like if someone has a kid, is it blown up on social media by millions of people? No, not all the time. And that's the biggest thing is that's a big moment in your life, but not necessarily to the people.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I think that's the issue is that we're such an information society that we figure out like this and that and that and we're just overloaded. Humans are so overloaded that it's crazy. That's why I think doing your own thing. Derek and I were just talking about this before the show of, hey, I just do my own thing. I just live and I do my own thing. I don't need to be in everyone's business. I think that's how you kind of gotta live life.
Yeah.
Is do your own thing. Don't be in everyone's business. And Instagram is just also getting to the point of like so many people are so caught up in themselves that it's just not even
I
like
don't even use Instagram.
and
the
the,
way I, like,
and the
originally
biggest
used it.
thing is like
it's not even worth it
like
anymore.
Shane said, we talked about it earlier. Like people are so worried about what other people are doing, they're
Yeah.
forgetting about
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
You know,
so crazy to me.
For me, like, you know, you look at Instagram, it's like, oh, it's all about the likes, it's all about this. Like, and I've gone away completely from posting, like, and this is just my own personal rant. I only post my lifts and my dog. Like, that's all I post.
Yeah,
I
but
post
what do
my-
you get out of that? That's what I'm saying.
What do I get out of it? Like, I post my dog because I think he's cute. And I think, you know, other people
Like
like,
you,
like
is
people
there,
like to see
are we
dog.
gonna make a dog man now? So you know, like Catwoman, like
No. You
stay away from crazy Catwoman girl. Now stay away from crazy dog man.
See, Catwoman, they're single. I have a girlfriend, so like there's a huge difference there. But no, like what I'm saying mainly, shut up. No, what I'm saying like, you know, what I get out of like Instagram is like everybody likes dog pictures, so why not bless the world with some dog pictures instead of some stupid LeBron bullshit or like Tom Brady bullshit on Instagram. And for me, I think posting my lifts on Instagram is cool. 1, 2. I think it's a huge, like business wise, it's a marketing piece,
Yeah.
right? Nobody as a strength coach,
Yeah.
as a strength coach, right? Nobody wants to train with somebody that's weak or soft, right? And so if
Well, yeah,
and I had
it's
one of
a
my
marketing.
best athletes. For me, like an athlete, like all my athletes become really good friends to me, and that's you know how Nick was with me when I was at elite. Nick became a great friend, and then you talk about you know like my athlete Parker. His name's Parker Dorrance, baseball dude. I reach out to him over Instagram, right? And that's how I reach out to a lot of athletes. Just like I see or hear like, you know, like, hey, you should go be this person. Hey, this person's like a freaking athlete. Or I'm in a game and I see like, oh, who's that dude? You know, I'll reach out to him on Instagram. And Parker literally straight up said, I probably wouldn't have responded to you if you didn't have a 600-pound squat.
Yeah.
And so for me, I see that like, okay, well maybe I should post more about my lifts and what I do fitness wise, because I'm not only posting my fitness stuff, but also I post my athletes all over my shit.
Well, it's a part of who you are, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's who you are, and you're showing I'm at a high level at what I do.
Yeah.
And that's important. That's what I'm talking about, using like social media as business. That's still a big thing, and that's still a big part of life, is you're using social media to educate people and to show people like I am at a high level at this. I do know what I'm talking about at this. And I understand that. I'm just saying what's going on is a lot of issues is a lot of people are thriving for me. And I took this like super seriously. I was talking to someone, I can't remember, but we were talking about how when you're in a conversation sometimes, do you realize how many times that you're actually not listening? All you're doing is waiting to respond.
Dude,
Like
how
how
real
real
is
is that?
podcast sometimes.
How real is that? You're not even listening to me right now. You're just waiting to respond.
I do it during our podcast sometimes where it's like I'm sitting there and like,
No,
like 5 minutes ago, I was literally for like 10 minutes, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
like, how can I tie Tom Brady into this?
But that's
Like, I don't remember shit that was like being said for those 10 minutes.
But that's what I'm saying is we gotta be more conscious as a society of just listening.
Yeah.
Like listen to what people are
We
saying.
listen to respond. We don't listen to like actually
we
understand.
don't. Yeah, we don't.
I mean,
listen
so
to
we
understand.
we like understand it, but how do we get that to our athletes?
And the younger generation.
And the
Because they
people
can hear
around
us, but they'll just 1 minute. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this.
Yeah.
I think it's that learning curve of taking in aspects of what people say truly grows who you are, and that's what I've taken a lot, is consciously realizing what people say is huge. And
Yeah.
it's as simple as like, if you said something to me, Christian, and I didn't know about it and I actually listened and consciously heard and I put it into my life, it can grow me a lot more as a person. And us as coaches, like that stubborn world, what we talk about, the exercise world is so stubborn. If you listen to these coaches and you take the aspects that you want to take from them, it's as simple as when Marcus was talking about the Excel position and talking about torque and rotational force,
Yeah.
everything like that in the Excel. I took that so big and now I put it so much in my training, and that helped me. And that's a part of that. There are times that I get you can shut off your brain and not consciously think, but there are times when you actually listen to someone and understand what they're saying, you're gonna grow as a person. So I think telling our athletes, like, you're not listening sometimes, you're going through life and you're just trying to live your own, and you're not actually listening to what people are saying. Because you can get that from parents, you know what I'm saying? Parents will come up to you and say, hey, my kid's not listening to what I'm saying. My kid's, rebelling and stuff like that. Well, actually talking to your kids sometimes, like you remember when you were younger, I think the biggest instances is like relatability and like actually being able to listen to the kid first and hear what's going on in their head, and then putting in your own thoughts. And I think parents screw up on that sometimes, where they put in all their input and they don't understand what the kid's feeling. And I can hear it from some of the athletes, like you can hear it, them not even saying it. Sometimes you train some of these athletes and I almost sometimes want to tell them, like, don't even play this sport. Not because you're bad, but because your heart's not into it.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't force yourself to play this.
I
You know what I'm saying?
remember when I first started working in the training world, and going back to like my first few months, like there was some times I had a kid. He had zero desire to be playing baseball, zero desire to be in the weight room, zero desire to be on the field doing speed stuff. Yet his parents were pushing the shit out of him, like, dude, you need to be like this. And this kid was probably one of the smartest kids I've ever met. This kid was like a 6th grader, 7th grader. Like, stop pushing people to do things that you want to push onto them. Like, you got to understand where they're at.
Yeah. And
I don't know if
See,
I carried off that very much, but like,
where I take that situation is, that's once I figured that out, I kind of figure out, okay, I'm not gonna prepare him for sports. I'm gonna prepare him for life.
Yeah. And sometimes you just gotta have fun with the training. Like, well, we're not gonna get you better for baseball. We're just gonna get you strong as shit.
Well,
and make you look good.
I think sometimes if you actually like understand what the parents are doing, sometimes they don't actually say it out loud, but they're saying, I'm putting this kid in here because I want you to mentor him and not make him better in his sport.
Yeah.
Sometimes parents won't say that, but I did have a kid for that. Like, it was literally for mental health. Like I had a kid where it was literally like,
I
yeah,
think
we
you
were
come
doing
across that
sports
a lot.
stuff, but it was for him to have a friend, for him to have a mentor. And parents pay money for them to have that type of person. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but just at the end of the day, what's tough is like, all right, I'm not a parent, but what's tough is to understand your kid and to say it's okay if you don't want to do this, you know?
Yeah.
Do what you want to do, but guide them, but don't push them into doing something they don't want to do, right?
Yeah.
And that's society as a whole is we all want to push each other into doing a lot of things that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I would definitely agree with that. I mean, I've been in some relationships and in some different experiences where I feel like a lot of other people's agendas were pushed upon like me, and then it's like you sit there and it's like all of a sudden you start to like identify with that because of what's being pushed on you, and then eventually, you know, you have that point where you kind of crack and you're like, what the fuck am I been doing, and like why have I been doing that, you know?
Yeah. No, I understand, but you have any last comments there? You got anything over there for the people?
D-Mid 1
At
D-Mid 01. 01? Just one.
Just one.
D-Mid 1.
Just one.
At D-Mid 1. Instagram.
You got any
No,
last things?
Sidelines at Regis High School.
Exactly.
Coaching the running backs.
No, I just, speaking of Regis, big year. We did lose our quarterback though.
Just saw that. How do you feel about that? Leaving to go to Arizona.
You know what? For him, he's gonna have to make. You know, he's well known.
Yeah.
Nationally.
Yeah.
And
Very much so.
in a couple of years, he's gonna have to make decisions. That's gonna hurt people. That's gonna make someone happy, and you know, this situation came up early where, you know, he had to make a pretty much a grown man decision, and that was to leave Regis. And I just saw him a couple weeks ago, and I just told him how happy I was for him. And you know, like I said, like you're gonna make decisions in life that's gonna upset people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you gotta do what's best
For you.
For you.
I think in the end, with a lot of people, like you just gotta focus on like. This goes back to like us screwing around before we started. Like me, myself, and I. Like you gotta focus on what's gonna make you mentally strong, mentally like okay, physically there, and what you want, like what you're gonna do to like love like your life and look back on it and be like, cool, I did some cool fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, if you make yourself better, you make the people around you better.
Very much
And
so.
I think a lot of people don't self-grow themselves, and they're not focused on me, myself, and I.
You outgrow other people too.
Yeah. But when you don't focus on yourself, when you don't have a stable sense of self, you screw everyone else around you because you're not giving the proper like growth and like education of, you know, this is how you build yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people kind of almost like push themselves. Like we talk about relationships, like some people are scared to be alone because they're scared to look at themselves in the mirror and say, this is who I am.
Myself and I.
Yeah, me, myself, and I. But, I mean, Derek, you're single, I'm single, I know you're in a relationship, Christian, but
I had
the biggest thing that I've the biggest thing that I've learned being by myself is I've learned so much. I became so strong alone that like when I want to bring that person into my life, I'm so stable that when I can bring them into my life, we can build a relationship that's stable. And I'm not saying that you haven't done that, but all I'm saying is I've seen people jump from relationship to relationship to relationship, and they never get a sense of themselves.
I mean,
and then they screw their own foundation.
I've seen that firsthand with some people going from, you know, long serious relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. You know, whereas I, you know, went from long serious relationship to more or less for over, I don't know, a year and a half being by myself and kind of like learning who I needed to be and kind of working through some of my own shit to now, you know, being back in serious relationship and kind of seeing, you know, where that goes. Obviously, like there was a lot of like, for me, and I'm sure a lot of people go through this, a lot of like, I don't know if PTSD is the right word, but like a lot of like mental like doubt,
Just
like,
garbage.
Yeah, because you're working through shit, and you know, I've had some conversations where it's like, I have to overcome mental battles every day.
Yeah.
Because what I've gone through was very traumatic, and so you gotta be able to look yourself in the mirror by yourself and be like, okay, like we're gonna go fucking get strong today and squat 600 pounds.
Yeah.
that was what I did.
That's the biggest thing, is just waking up every morning and thinking. Like I said, I'm reading right now Joel Osteen's book where it's think better, live better, and you know, with me being out here alone in Colorado, like, you know, blood family not being out here, especially with my mom passing like maybe like 5-6 months ago. You know, sometimes you get in a state of mind like, okay, I'm gonna go crazy. I go home, you know, there's no one to like cheer me up, but you know what, you gotta have that strong mindset.
Yeah.
And you know, that's when I honestly just started to pick up a book and started reading more and more and more, and understanding like, look, you gotta have this strong mindset. You gotta wake up every day thinking, having a positive mindset to start your day. Because you know, if you wake up each morning just thinking down on yourself, like, man, how am I going to get through this day, then that day's going to be a struggle for you. So the biggest thing for me, waking up with the mindset of attacking the day. You hear Oregon football, win the day. So I take it day by day, try to win this day, and you know, have a positive effect on everybody, and just move on. So
yeah, and that's what we, saying that, that's what we talked about a little bit last episode of, you can't get caught up in your emotions. You have to, if you have a stable foundation and you have a self-identity, you'll know that each day is going to be all right, and you're going to attack that day. If you get caught up in your emotions, you'll have a good day, you'll have a bad day, you'll have a good day, a bad day, maybe a few bad days in a row, and that's the issue, is if you don't know who you truly are and how mentally strong you are, you lose yourself, right, in the hard times. And you have to, whatever your support system is, you have to understand that you got to build that around yourself and be strong in your self-identity, and that will help you get through those days that are tough, that are hard with that. So, well, any last remarks over there, Christian or Derek?
No, I'm good. I'm happy with today. It's Saturday. Well, it's gonna be Sunday tomorrow when we post this, but no, I'm good.
Yeah, Derek said, Derek. Thanks for being on.
I'm still
thanks
still
for
talking
joining us
about
today.
the gaining and losing hours. That's
We were talking before we started tonight about how today, when you guys hear this, is.
I feel like if
Monday
you
or
add
Tuesday.
hours, you're gaining.
Bruh,
I get it,
like
but
you're skipping from 2 a.m. tonight to 4 a.m.
is it 4 or 3?
1 hour ahead.
You're jumping like 2 hours.
Oh, you're right, because usually it goes from 2, like when you fall back in the fall, you go from
It's
2 to
1
3
hour.
back to 2, so you gain an hour. But now we're going from 2 to 3.
We lose an hour,
You
but
lose
you're
an hour
adding
of
an hour
sleep.
to make the day go faster.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Tomorrow, basically, when we wake up tomorrow, it's gonna be dark. When it's been light the last, few weeks, and usually when it gets dark, it's gonna be light out.
Yeah.
Daylight savings.
No, but
Thank you, Benjamin Franklin. Honestly, I think that is one of the biggest, like in the fall, super random tangent. I think falling back an hour fucks people up. And everybody should be like Arizona. Screw the time change. Just go at the same time year round. Because what's the point? Why?
Yep.
Why?
Arizona doesn't change.
No, they don't change. They're on the same time. I might have to move there. Because I'm a big fan of the time change. Because I'm losing an hour of sleep tomorrow.
Yeah.
And God knows I ain't going to bed till like 12. So I'll sleep from like 12 to 5.
I'm gonna just have to move because of the weather. It's gonna snow next week.
No, dude, look at the weather. It's not gonna snow next week.
No, definitely, really appreciate you guys asking me to come on. And
Wi-Fi sucks. And it's not supposed to snow until forever. It's 60, 57, 60, 64, 60, 44,
I know,
50,
but
55, 57.
you said earlier March and April.
No, that was Shane that said
Yeah,
that.
that was me. March and April are snowy months.
But it's global warming, so
I'm
the spring is warmer.
I'm actually going to Arizona for my birthday.
See, and
In
so
April.
the time's not gonna have changed, so everybody there's gonna be happy because it's the same time as it was today.
I'm just there to have a good time.
Derrick's gonna have 5 drinks instead of 4 like he does tonight. Coronavirus, Stella Artois, Nitro
gins.
Irish Stout,
2
and
gins.
Dose Gin Tonics. GNT
I
specials.
keep it.
Shane's
I don't-
trying to close out. We keep talking about random shit.
My bad. Shane. My bad.
No,
Shane.
go ahead.
No.
Whatever you say.
I keep it simple. When I go out, like when I'm
Buy
at
4
home.
drinks.
Nope. Corona, Modelo, Stella. And when I go out, it's gin and tonic only.
Coronavirus, Modelo flu. I don't have anything. Stella.
I don't know.
I don't know. What rhymes with Stella? Modelo flu doesn't rhyme, but it works. It's like Tecate tetanus.
Stella
Stella
sick.
Huh?
Stella hella sick.
Stella's swine flu. Alright, we're done.
Alright.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Alright, guys. Follow us on Instagram
At Books and
at
Brewskies.
Books and Brewskies. Let's get a You're Killing Me Smalls. Thanks, Derek, for coming on the show.
At
Appreciate it.
D1.
Had a good time. Yep.
Black and white.
Thanks for telling us your story, and
Black and white.
tune in next week. We'll have another guest, and we will be going from there.
We might
Thank
have
you.
a cool guest next week, guys. See ya.
Damn.